Okay, thank you. So my understanding on civil procedure is that it's based on contracts, right?
Well,
Or
again, civil
social
procedure. Remember,
compacts.
make it simple. Did you write the rules of civil procedure? No. So don't even entertain. Why would you even want to know what it's about? If you didn't write it and you had nothing to do with it, don't allow that to come into your consciousness. Say, that's got nothing to do with me. Prove it. That's all you say to them. Prove it. Show me where I've got a contract. I consented to those words on that piece of paper applying to me. So you got to stop the whole conversation right there. I'm not being rude to you, but I'm just saying that's how you take it down quickly. You got to get in your mind, if you're going to look at words on a piece of paper that you're going to try and use in their court system, then you better first put in your head, wait a minute, I didn't write that. Who wrote that? Is the people that wrote that going to come into court and claim those three questions we've talked about over and over again? No, they're not going to answer yes to it. So that doesn't apply to me. Just like Black's Law Dictionary, just like, judicial court, family court, all these acts and statutes, it doesn't apply to you. So that's why I need you to understand that public courthouse is like a dance hall. You go and you rent that dance hall, you get your paperwork into it, and you're moving your claim in court against another man or woman, Bob or Susie, that are outside of this court system right now who have trespassed against you out in the public. It's that simple.
Right. But what I'm trying to say is, so the rules of civil procedure, will, from the way you're saying it and the way I understand it, it's based on contracts, right? Or presumption of contracts. So it's not necessarily that we have to sign anything. It's that if they can presume that we consented into certain social compacts because of our actions, correct? Like for example, right. But a contract, right? A contract, but there's different types of contracts. There's the wedding signature contract. There's the implied consent contracts. So based on like for example, if I have a driver's license, they're presuming that I'm under the commercial system, right? Because driving is commercial. So then they can presume that the laws that apply to traffic apply to me because I went and got a driver's license. So isn't it like in the same? Wouldn't they presume to have jurisdiction over you based on the other social compacts when you step inside the courtroom?
Yeah, that's what they're looking for, right? In order for that to apply, remember, the judge cannot. He does not want to see that there's a man or woman in front of them. He wants to only see that there's a person or a defendant or a respondent or a claimant, right? Some type of a legal terminology that he has jurisdiction over. So Remember, in order for a contract to be binding, there has to be a meeting of the minds. There has to be full disclosure. And if there is anything at any time that was kept back from either party, then that eviscerates that contract. So the whole contract, you're talking about driver's license, there is no contract. You went and applied for it as a benefit or a privilege. That's how these service corporations produce them. So I'll explain to you. I don't have a driver's license, but when I do have a driver's license, if I do get one, what is the benefit and privilege of it for me? Well, there's only two things. If my car breaks down and I got to go rent a car, or I got to go rent some tools from Home Depot. That's it. Otherwise, a man or woman does not require a license to go from point A to point B in a public road with his property. See, but the police have all been led to believe that we need a license in order to operate a vehicle. See how the words start to change up? And when you register, go and look at the registration of your car. You've been hooked in right from the beginning. You've gone and used that all capital letter name that was created by the service corporation when you've purchased your car, your property. And the minute that they register that and that name, well, it's not your property anymore. You've just relinquished control over to the service corporation. That's why they can pull you over at the side of the road. They can fine you. They can do whatever the hell they want with the person, right? Because they created that legal entity. And we are too ignorant. We're acting through it. So you always address before you go into their courts. You put everything in writing ahead of time, correcting the status of who is actually appearing before them that day. So that's what I would say to the contracts. Yeah.
The key to these claims, when you file them into the court, is to keep the claims in the manner of it being filed from the man or the woman, right? So you don't use the terminology.
Yep. Correct jurisdiction. Remember, it's just jurisdiction. When you file your claim is your property that goes into that court. See how that word comes back in? It's your property and it's your truth. You are bringing the law into that court. Nobody else. You know the law in your heart, your mind, and soul. Bob and Susie did X, Y, and Z to me out here. Here's my evidence that they did against me. See the jury of my peers. And common law is deadly because if you walk into a court and you try and make a claim that's not true and you're shown to be a liar, Well, that jury is going to turn it on you. Whatever you're going after that man, they're going to throw that on you and probably more. So that's how it works, right? You just understand that when you bring in your claim, that's the law. That's the truth that you bring in with your heart, mind, and soul. It's on paper with the evidence. That makes the law. If it goes unrebutted from the other side, not proven as false. That's how simple it is. And the bar doesn't want you to know this. They don't want our public courthouses operating like this, because as soon as they do, their society is finished. Right? That's the big thing that we have here. Not only is their society finished, they are mercenaries for the central bankers, the monarch, and the Pope, because they are the ones that set up this system a long time ago that we have all been born into. Remember that. When you're walking into these courts, these public courthouses, well, they're private courts that are operating, but you're not supposed to be told that. Right? And these are the people that set this all up. And we've done this for over 200 years in our countries, respectively. It's time that we end it. It's time that we end this deceit, and we create these proper courthouses, claims and courts moving with the jury before our peers. It's going to be bumpy along the way. There's no question about it. It's not just going to be some happy kumbaya moment. It's just, oh, look at this. It just worked great and it's all changing overnight. No, we got to fight against us. And the fight is the ignorance that people just don't understand the truth we've talked about here tonight. But once they know it, boy, it's a game changer. That's what I'm saying. I got the police now. So what are they going to do with the police? You tell me the police, I'm going to write the claim up for them. And these people, not the police, the people that were acting as police that have been walked off their jobs, and they go and move a claim in court in a public courthouse, do you think these parasites at the court are going to turn around and say, oh, this claim is vexatious, it's frivolous, it's not falling under the rules of civil procedure, we're going to toss it out? See, I got them cornered. They do that to the police, then they're now further showing that their rules of civil procedure, everything that they're doing against we the people, they're blocking us from moving our claims in court, which is our right. Remember, we have a right. We have rights when we're in that public courthouse. They don't. They don't have any rights. They're supposed to provide good faith and duty services. But the second, see, those judges, they're supposed to recognize a legal proceeding and a lawful proceeding. They're supposed to recognize that when a man or woman appears in front of them, what the jurisdiction is actually occurring and where they're actually supposed to act. But they don't want to relent that jurisdiction, that control, that power that they've got, because the second that they show that the emperor has no clothes, so to speak, that they have no jurisdiction over a man or woman or people, they're in big trouble. And that's what the bar fears, and they better be fearful, because what they've been doing to all of us for a very long time, I don't think anyone on this call doesn't know somebody that's been destroyed by lawyers or a court system, or they've been railroaded. All of this stuff is going to come to an end. And the beauty side of this is that the remedy is that we are looking at, remember, taxation is theft. So in Canada here, and that's what Carl was kicking the crap out of the CRA, that's the Canadian Revenue Agency. Is the CRA a man or a woman? No. So you just require, in the legal world, you say, I require the plaintiff. When is the plaintiff going to appear? Well, the CRA can't appear because it's not a man or woman. And then you say, I require, which means demand, the plaintiff to press the record. And that means they have to appear and viva voce. They got to speak in open court on the record. Well, the CRA can't do that because it doesn't exist. As soon as Carl was doing that, they were shutting down hundreds of cases here in Canada. So they locked them up. We got people's children back and everything. So they locked them up in jail for 12 hours. Then they deported them. They said, you're not coming back in the country again. No criminal record. He's done absolutely nothing wrong except kicking the shit out of the bar in our public courthouses. So again, we don't need Carl up here anymore. I sort of picked up the ball from that point and run with it, but you've still got great people in your country that you can all learn from quickly. And like I say, Carl would be a great man to have with you on the day that you go and do this at the public courthouse. He would be a rock for your country to see that this gets done. And in that moment, my God, you want to talk about our world turning around? And all of a sudden, this evil that's been operating over us for a very long time is going to get dragged out into the open. And that is when we collectively together can finally slay and obliterate this whole evil that's been around us for so long. But we can't do it unless we know who our enemy is. Like I say, the first enemy is ignorance. Once we can get this truth we've got here talked about here tonight, and everyone knows in their heart, mind, and soul, the difference between legal and lawful, the simplicity of exposing the COVID lie, the simplicity of having this conversation with every chief of police and all these wonderful people that put their lives on the line every day, get this message to them, get this link to them. Say, go and download and look at this information, and that is going to wake the consciousness of the mind of man. I didn't just come forward to show people this truth with the lies or whatever. I came here as a solution provider. All right, I'm giving you the massive truths of these core foundational pillars we've been lied to. Then I'm showing you the way forward through the court system. And then I'm showing you the remedy that we're going to get while we're in the court system. And it's all done lawfully, properly, and honorably, and before our fellow man and woman. And that's what the world needs to see, right? We're not here about violence. They're the ones that are doing the violence now. They're killing us. They're threatening us. They have the police attacking us. And all this is occurring because we have not had the correct conversation. So let us go from here tonight. Let's have that correct conversation.